Today you're going to learn how to hit a forehand, which by definition means that your palm is facing the sky or facing forward. Now throughout this class we're actually going to have our palm facing the sky because, as you'll see from early on, that allows you to hit with the least amount of effort to make the ball over the net to your partner, and so you develop a lot of control and you're able to rally very quickly. And so when we hit a forehand, we want our paddle to be very open. Now, throughout the class, if I say to open your paddle more, that means turn it up towards the sky more. If I say to close your paddle, which is going to be very rare, that means turn it towards the net more. So our face of our paddle is becoming more parallel to the net as we close our paddle. And so we want to start with our paddle very open, and then the grip we're going to use is the same grip that we were using for the self rally. And so how you're going to find that grip is take your non-dominant hand on the head of the paddle and then comfortably place your dominant hand underneath the grip of the paddle. Now we don't want our wrist to be bent because then we're going to be in an uncomfortable position and we're naturally going to be turning our paddle this way to hit. And so we rotate our hand until our wrist is nice and relaxed and we have the paddle at the desired angle. Now, when you are gripping the paddle, we don't want to have our hands scrunched up together like this, because then I have to grip the paddle tighter. My whole arm tightens up. So go ahead and practice doing this and see how tight your hand feels when you have your fingers scrunched up together. Now, instead of this, I want to have a little bit of space in between my fingers so that I can have a nice relaxed grip on the paddle. So notice that this finger is way away from my middle finger. It's not scrunched up like this because then I end up with a tighter grip. Now when I hit the ball, I'm trying to hit from low to high, and I'm hitting on the bottom part of the tennis ball. So I'm impacting like this on my forehand. I don't need to do very much swing or take the paddle back very far. Let me show you how a couple forehands look. Notice I'm turned sideways in the direction of my forehand. So for left-handers, I'm turned to the left. And in terms of my contact point, I don't want to reach out for the ball so much that my arm is completely extended. I want it to be nice and comfortable. And so playing that somewhere around my front foot is a good reference point for this class. And also playing the ball when it's at about waist height is also another good reference. So if I have to play the ball when it's up here, that's going to be more challenging. Also, if I have to play the ball when it's too low, that's challenging. So throughout the course, I'm trying to move my feet to adjust my positioning so that I can get that perfect ball that's about waist height. Notice I'm starting with my paddle down low and I'm just lifting up into the bottom of the ball. Now another thing that we want to do is make sure we have a little bit of space on the side on our forehand. We don't want to be jammed where our elbow is too close to our side or touching our side, because then we don't get the same result that we're looking for as when we're a little bit freer. Now I'll show you a right-handed example of the forehand. So same thing, I'm going to take my non-dominant hand, put it at the head of the paddle, put the paddle at the desired angle so it's nice and open, and then I'm going to comfortably place my dominant hand on the paddle, making sure that my wrist is not too bent. So I adjust my hand on the paddle grip until it's nice and relaxed. I'll turn to the right if I'm right-handed. I set the angle, set the paddle back a little bit. My partner tosses it into me. And then I hit into the bottom part of the tennis ball. So that's the forehand for you, and that's the forehand we're going to use throughout this class, because again, when we can put very little effort into our swing, we have more success. We're able to rally quicker, we're able to actually play quicker than if we were doing more of a full swing. And so the first thing I want you to do is one player is going to toss the ball, the other player is going to hit forehands back to the tosser 10 times each, so 10 times and then switch. After you've done that, then we're going to play a game. So this game is called graduation, in that when we achieve a 6-ball rally, meaning we make 6 in a row together, then we are going to move our target back one large step and graduate towards the back line. In the first round, we're going to have one tosser and one hitter. We are going to set our target marker about 4 feet from the net. And so he's going to toss to me. He'll put down his paddle in the first round. I'm going to turn towards my forehand, and we have to get 6 in a row, making the ball bounce in front of the other person, aiming for the green circle. That's 1. He catches it, so that's 2. So both of us count. And 6. Now, if he didn't catch the ball, for example, we'd have to start over and do it again because we have to get 6 in a row. So what I do now is I measure with my paddle, I put it behind the dot, and then I pick up the dot and put it back 1 step. And so I keep doing it in this fashion until I reach the back line. Okay, after we've done this round, now I can become the tosser and he's the hitter in the next round. Round 2 of graduation, again, we're going with a 6-ball rally, but this time both of us are going to be hitting. Now, when you start, you should toss the ball in at this stage so that we get the rally started. It's nice and comfortable. Now, I don't want to stand directly behind my green dot because then the ball's going to come right at me. So I want to stand slightly to the side of it so that I have room to play a forehand when he tosses that ball in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then I catch it. We move our dots back 1 big step, measuring with our paddle. So we've done a few rounds now. We're nearing the end of round 2. When I'm back here now, I can choose to drop it and hit it to him if I don't want to toss it. Some things to keep in mind are the higher that I hit, typically the further the ball will go. And so I don't have to put a lot of effort in if I'm hitting the ball high. And we would graduate back again. Round 3 of graduation is both players are going to bump the ball first before they hit. So again, we reset our dots 4 feet from the net, toss it up to myself, I bump it, let it bounce, and then I hit it back over the net. That's 1. Trying to keep the same angle when I bump as when I hit. So I'm not changing anything with the paddle to hit it over the net. I'm just figuring out how to make the ball go slightly more forward. So go ahead and try out these 3 different rounds of graduation, and we'll see you in the next class.